Hi guys, welcome to lesson 1.5. We're going to look at another kind of time or a specific search filter where we can search results by time when they were published on the internet. So we're going to just do a quick search. It can be anything. Really, it only works in the last kind of 40 years, sort of the advent of things being published on the internet by news sources up to about 2001 or so. We'll talk about that in a second. It used to be you could sort of search all the way back, but there's some copyright things and, basically kind of from the early like 1970 all the way through kind of 2000-ish. But you can find some good time-sourced articles. So let's say like the Challenger disaster. So we'll say Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. Or explosion, right? Whatever. Okay. So there are returns. You can see we've got our Google Now card over here, which again, of course, is sourced by Wikipedia, some video options, some different things. Let's say we want to get articles written right about the time, right? So we know it's right here, Wikipedia, January 28th, 1986. So let's say we want to see articles like in that year, 1986, that were written. So if you check right here underneath, we'll say Tools. Down here, then we get these tools that pop up, all results or anytime. So we can go anytime. We can search them by hour, 24 hours, etc. For this, because we're going back to 1986, we're going to do a custom range. And it pops up, and I'm just going to say 1986 to 1987. Okay, and you'll see now underneath here it says January 1st, 1986 to December 31st, 1987. So that's actually a 2-year window. But now we get some content here, and you can see that it's by date. So here's February 10th, here's January 29th, 1986. This is a Time magazine article here. So here's a Time magazine article that was published on February 10th, 1986. So we can actually get articles from that specific time frame. Let's say you're having your students sort of do a reflection or a chronological, what were the stories about, how was it viewed, what were the changes, and so you can actually come in here then and say, all right, I'm going to go to the custom range and I want to look 10 years down the road. So instead of 86, let's change this to 96. We'll change this one to 97. 10 years after the space shuttle disaster, what did that look like? Again, here's NBC News, history. Part of this is a lot of what was on the internet at this time was published by a lot of news or reporting. There wasn't a lot of personal internet use. And so here's NBC News, get a story here, kind of a reflection, 10 years after the account or after the event had happened. And so in about 2001, with 9/11, things kind of changed. The internet, people were using the internet. The internet, the ability to get news from the internet got a lot faster than news sources. And so in terms of finding things, you can still use that filter for times, but in terms of like when you use it getting like news sources or news articles, you just have to be careful. And so you could filter with that site filter or some of the other things we've looked at. Let's say we're talking about now, like current events or things. Let's say we'll do the polar bear crisis, right? If we're doing some sort of animal research, we'll do the polar bear crisis. Notice that my time filter is still the same. So it's still 1996 to 1997. So I've got to be careful if I'm sort of doing different searches. That time filter stays there until you change it out. So let's say I want to get something, we use this custom, something that was written, say, like in the past year. So here's The Guardian. Here's a Live Science article. So there are some different things there. You can also, because we're in the past year, you could use that site filter to sort of navigate through specific sites. If you want to learn a new skill, this is something that I run into when I'm troubleshooting specific things, especially with technology. As software gets updated or versions get updated, Google's applications, that sort of thing. Let's say I want to, let's go how to insert a YouTube video into Google Slides. Okay, so here's how to insert Google Video into Google Slides. Maybe I'll change this to presentation. Same thing. Okay, so I get this here. Here's May 2018, which is good. See if I can get it to work here. You might get a search result. These are all pretty current. May 21, 2018. And so if you want to, if you've got something, oh, it's because I'm on past year. How about anytime? There we go. That's what I wanted it to do. So when I do that search, I get this little card, but this is from February 2016. So this has been almost 3 years ago. And if it's changed and you are looking at these directions and you don't see the same options or the same things with the thing you're trying to learn or troubleshoot, you can come in here to those tools and say, I just want the past year. And now it's going to return anything that's sort of current and updated. So that's a kind of a cool way to use that if you're trying to learn how to do something, especially as it relates to technology, where you're trying to, get a certain method or a specific thing and it's not matching, all the directions you're finding are older. And so you can use that date range that way. So it's a great tool for your students, especially if you're trying to look at a chronological, what did news say about it as we move through history. Thanks.